Good afternoon. My name is Fabio Rosini, Sales Manager of MVM SRL. Company MVM has been manufacturing, grinding and sharpening machines for industrial blades and knives for more than 60 years. Was founded in year 1959. The topic that we will discuss today is how to sharpen top slither circular knives for cutting paper, like this. To complete this topic, we'll show you how to grind also the bottom circular knives in the next webinar, scheduled on Thursday, 26th of November. We invite you to watch the next webinar too, of course. I can see now there are more than 30 people online, including some of our competitors. Thank you very much to all. We will briefly describe the equipment needed to sharpen the circular knife. The machine is our circular knife grinding machine LA 700. 5 horsepower motor, magnetic chuck 300 mm diameter, variable rotary table speed from 3 to 35 RPM. We will grind a circular knife Dines, material HSS, 150 mm diameter. 60 degrees cutting angle with 5 degrees taper. This is one of the most common knives in the paper industry. We use a Boranson B46 grinding wheel, 150 diameter, hole 20 mm, grain 46, already mounted on the machine. We can use a flange for sharpening the 60 degrees cutting angle. The counter flange and locking screw are necessary to hold the circular knife. The height of the flange depends on the angle and dimension of the knife, of course. To speed up the grinding cycle, we find the flange already mounted on the magnetic chuck. The circular knife is already mounted on top of the flange and locked by the counter flange. The angle of the head is set at 60 degrees, which is the cutting angle of the circular knife. The head is locked. We switch on the grinding wheel motor, the rotary table and the coolant. We move the grinding wheel down manually until it touches the circular knife. Now we start the automatic working cycle. So the machine is working according to the following parameters we set before. Partial downfeed amount 2 microns every 10 seconds. Total downfeed amount 0.05 millimeters. Rotary table speed 24 RPM. Spark out at the end of the working cycle 30 seconds. Now the machine is working automatically. It takes probably around 5 minutes to do the grinding cycle. In the meantime, I would like to give you some advices. LA 500 can grind any type of knife up to 500 mm diameter. Otherwise, LA 700 up to 700 millimeters. PLC Siemens is very easy to use and reliable. So we suggest you the machine with the PLC Siemens. You can change the working parameters anytime during the grinding cycle, depending on the technical features and dimensions of the circular knife, and on the type of abrasive you use. It is advisable to direct the coolant on the blade, but away from the grinding wheel to reduce the nebulization. You can use also the plexiglass splash protection guards to reduce the water spray. It is possible to have a full enclosure cabin with mist extraction system. At the end of the working cycle, we recommend you to do a spark up cycle around 30 to 60 seconds, decreasing the rotary table speed approximately by 50%. In this case was 24 RPM, so we set 12 RPM. What is the spark up cycle? It is the final phase of the working cycle, when the grinding wheel does no longer move down, so there is no downfeed. It is very important to improve the surface finish of the knife and to reduce the burr. To reduce the grinding cycle, you can use a roughing grinding wheel. For example, Borazon B151 instead of Borazon B46. You can use also a ceramic grinding wheel. We recommend you to use Borazon grinding wheel instead of ceramic grinding wheel, because Borazon is easier to use and gets a better finishing. At the end of the working cycle, we recommend you to move the grinding wheel up before switching off the rotary table and the coolant. Now we are waiting a few seconds, the end of the working cycle. At the end of the working cycle, it is necessary to deburr the knife manually with a natural stone to remove the burr on the cutting edge of the knife. Otherwise, the knife doesn't cut well. In fact, the burr on the cutting edge does not make the blade perfectly sharp, so it must be removed. We suggest you to wear gloves to deburr the knife, using a stone manually in contact with the lower part of the cutting edge of the knife. You set a slow speed rotation of the table and you turn off the grinding wheel for safety reason. We recommend you to keep the coolant flow on the blade, or at least keep the stone wet. You can also remove the knife and deburr it on a working bench. At the end of the deburring cycle, you can remove the knife. The circular knife is perfectly sharp and deburred, so the demonstration is finished. We thank you for your attention and we remind you again that during the next webinar, scheduled on Thursday 26 November, we'll show you how to grind the bottom slitter circular knives. We have almost run out of time, so we can answer only to 3 of your questions. We will answer to all your several questions within 24 hours in the FAQ section of our website www.mvmsrl.it. We have almost run out of time now, so we can answer only to 3 of your questions. We will answer to all your questions within 24 hours in the FAQ section of our website www.mvmsrl.it. Question number 1. Is it possible to sharpen circular knives in the food sector? Yes, of course it's possible to sharpen these knives. They are very common. Usually they have a cutting angle 24 or 22 degrees. You need a flange similar to the one we used in the demonstration. You can also grind meat, mincer plates and cross knives with the proper equipment. Question number 2. Is it possible to add a protection cabin to cover the machine? Yes, it's possible to add a full enclosure protection cabin and a mist extraction system. The cabin is very useful to reduce the coolant mist in the environment. Last question, number 3. Can I use diamond grinding wheels? Yes, of course. You can use diamond grinding wheels for sharpening tungsten carbide circular knives and borazone or ceramic grinding wheels to sharpen HSS circular knives. The time is really about to end, so we thank you very much for your attention. All the answer to your other questions will be within 24 hours in our FAQ section of the website. We remind you that in the next webinar, scheduled on 26th of November, we will show you how to grind the bottom circular knives. Goodbye.